Hermes, draw near, and to my prayer incline, in arts gymnastic, and in fraud divine.
Dire weapon of the tongue which men revere, be present, Hermes, and thyself plant here.
Welcome to Third Eye Bind, episode 47, Ancestry. Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Caitlin.
And welcome back to Third Eye Bind.
Welcome.
Hi.
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 This week, we are talking about
Ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. But before we get to that, if you like us and you'd like to support the show, please rate, subscribe, tell your friends, even donate to us on Patreon, patreon.com/thirdEyeBind.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a sticker pack and sleep at night knowing you're helping this independently run podcast stay running.
Yes.
Yes.
Because Laura and I both work lots of jobs besides this one. And we appreciate how much you appreciate us. And we also appreciate your support, however it is you're able to give it. So
yes.
thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have merch.
We do have really cool merch.
We have merch. Caitlin is wearing our Hermes tee,
Mm-hmm.
and I am wearing a logo sweater.
Mm-hmm.
Third Eye Bind. It's a conversation starter. It's an iconic piece in your wardrobe. And
Tell me that's not like the cutest logo you've
Come
ever
on.
seen, though.
Third Eye Bind, and it's just rolling its eyes.
With
Like,
the little
come on.
lightning bolt.
You know,
It's amazing.
I think it's really cute.
It's art.
So you can catch that over on the link in the show notes. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, new deck
New
alert.
deck alert.
By the time this airs, I think the Offerings Oracle that Caitlin created will be available for purchase.
Yeah, you can actually buy it on my website.
Oh, now?
Right
okay.
now.
Okay. I thought you may have run out because it was so popular. So this is the Offerings Oracle that Caitlin created a while ago, and I finally got my copy.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do today, since this episode is about ancestry and this deck is about offerings to your good spirits, we are going to pull an additional card along with our regularly scheduled Sirens of Song Tarot deck, which I designed and created. We're going to also pull an Offerings Oracle card to supplement our reading for today.
I'm so excited.
Well, I'm going to open this up. It's
I'm
beautiful.
Really excited.
If you're not watching, it's like a cloudy red, sort of devilishly good color with like these really beautiful gold foil accents, and it's a magnetic box. And I'm opening it. Ooh, yes. And there's a really cute pattern on the inside with a cake, some cards, a skull, a rose, a pentacle. All things I like.
The lining is my favorite part.
The lining is really fun. I also really like the collage styling with how the cards are designed. It's fun.
Schmanks.
So for the first time, look at these gold. I love a foiled edge.
I know.
As we know.
Laura really helped me so much when it came to the creation of this deck. Laura was able to connect me with an amazing manufacturer who was able to make
really
it
great.
Exactly the way I wanted it.
Exactly.
The gold foil is just...
It's really pure. It's really nice.
It's ultra rare.
Oh, yeah. It's ultra rare. It's Buga de Pepo. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm going to... okay, you go ahead first. I just want to sort of touch this. Okay. Ancestry.
Ooh, that's it. Okay. What could it be? Oh.
I see Mary J. Blige on the card.
The King of Cups.
Yes.
I pulled the King of Cups, and I think a lot of things. Which part do I want to say first? There's something so filling and comforting in knowing who it is that you come from, knowing what people, what land, especially if you are a diasporic person. There is something so important about knowing who it is and where it is that you come from. And in a world where so many of us are seeking out belonging, where am I supposed to be? It is in knowing our ancestors that we realize that we belong with them and that there's space for us at their table. And we don't have to look outside of ourselves for that validation, but rather turn within and turn to our altars to find that place in the world. And what I love so much about ancestral veneration is that no matter how little you know about your ancestors know you. They know who you are. So even if you are a displaced person, if you are an adoptee, if white supremacy has wiped away your ability to connect with those that you come from, your ancestral spirits show you the way. And they will make sure that you can know them so that you feel better knowing yourself. And the King of Cups really is about the energy of being able to pour love outwardly, to be so full that you are able to give unto others. And I really do think that that's one of the beautiful benefits of having a spiritual ancestral connection. I also really like the quote on this card. Got my head on straight. I got my vibe right. I ain't gonna let you kill it. While our spirit guides offer us support and guidance and wisdom, they don't really, they tend to reserve judgment, right? But our ancestors aren't afraid to be like, no,
right.
Knock it off. Not that one. Not that thing. Not that person. And it's their opinions that kind of help us. Not all of them, but it's a lot of them. Our well ancestors, it's their opinions that help us keep our head on straight.
Yeah.
And help us remember what it is we are supposed to be doing in this lifetime. And remember that we are capable of taking the steps forward in order to make our dreams come true. And I think that's so cool and comforting and awesome.
Comforting is the key word for me. Like knowing, as someone who doesn't visually see the dead, the feelings and knowing and the sense of comfort is something tangible to me. That's accessible to me. And I think it sort of goes into what we were talking about with performance and with the cult episode is it helps. They're like a nice cheerleading section for you and of the team of you. And it's support. You feel supported. You feel known and acceptance from within, which is sort of the goal. I mean, and that sort of connection and sense of comfort is what strengthens your inner boundaries as well, I think, and helps. And helps you keep, on the straight and narrow per se, and on your path and on what you're meant to be and where you're going, and not get distracted by things like cults and predators, and not to fall as easily for those things. I think it's very interesting. I'm going to pull an oracle card now.
Please pull a card.
And I don't really know what I know what the deck is. I've seen the deck, but I just want to pull.
It's a surprise.
I just want to pull a card to supplement what this episode is about. I know this whole deck is about offerings and connecting with your good spirits and such, but I just want a little more specificity of what to. Okay. Music. That's beautiful. Which makes sense as we are a trickster, an altar, digital altar to the trickster, music and Hermes, and particularly with the lyre and with innovation, that makes a lot of sense to me for this episode, personally as well. But that's interesting. What do you think?
I think that music is, sometimes.
What is this card? Yeah, what is this card's purpose?
I think that folks can get really caught up in, like, what do I give to my spirits?
Yeah.
What do I give to them? And it doesn't always need to be like lavish gifts or big cakes or things like that. I think we've kind of touched on this in a few different episodes, but playing music for your spirits is such a beautiful offering. And when you're trying to connect to your ancestry, playing the music that they would want to listen to is a really great way to pour back onto them, the same way that they pour into you.
Right.
And you said a word that I think is really important.
What did I say?
Acceptance.
Acceptance.
I think so many of us share the struggle of not feeling fully seen or accepted by our families of origin. And it is painful.
Yeah.
When, even the parents with the best of intentions don't always fully understand us or see us or agree with us. And there's something so beautiful about working with my own ancestors and working with clients. And when ancestors come forward and say, like, I see you. You're actually a lot like me. We see you.
Yeah.
You're like us.
Yeah.
You're not the only one, especially with like my queer clients. To have other queer and trans ancestors come through and they're like, wait, not only do you accept me, you're like me. It's just such a moment, like a beautiful moment of tenderness. And it feels good to know that, like, even if at home you don't feel that acceptance, there are people in your bloodline who are like, no, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I support it.
I'm about it. Yeah, that for me as a magical person and someone who identifies as a witch, that's important to me because I know there were other magical people before me. I know it's probably far back and it feels a little distant at times, but it also does not feel distant. And that sort of acceptance is important to me because I am like a solo practitioner. I think it's important for us to like have that support system and to seek that out because I know there's people that don't always seek that out, ancestral support and things like that. And that's okay. But, for me, it's like a big mystery. Like I know my bloodline and we'll talk about ours in a minute, but like the magical aspects of it sometimes is like what I'm only interested in. And I think there's other tidbits that I miss, but I'm like, well, I want to find the like, where's the weirdos? You know what I mean? But then there's, people that are closer to me in time that I know are there and are important. And I'm like, well, what are you there for? That's random, So it's interesting the way they show up and versus like who you seek versus who shows up.
Yes, sometimes it's surprising who actually shows up for you.
Yeah.
Like I have an ancestor who came up when I was in a reading with a Babalao, and he was like, there's a nun with you. She's your relative. I was like, a nun?
A nun? Nonsense.
Does she like me?
Is she upset?
He's like, she loves you. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
And then it also made me think about how, like, for certain women who went into the convent, like, that was a place where mystics could go to hide and to feel somewhat protected in the midst of all of the chaos. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of it that I'm just now like getting into because I guess I have to sort of get into my background. I, as I talked about, was not raised with religion at all, which allowed me freedom, I believe, to find myself very early on, and sort of do whatever I wanted with it and develop my own discernment and things like that. But my Azorian Portuguese ancestors were deeply religious, deeply Catholic, still are. Like, the Azores have like little mini churches and things like that. Like, and I wonder, I often, because I don't know a lot about Catholicism or Christianity, so I am curious how that would affect me or allow me to connect with them without it being like a weird toxic thing for me, because I just don't know. You know what I mean? Like, because I know like folk Catholicism and things like that, and I know at some point in my past like that happened, you know, like, but it's interesting, like the saints and the things that I've sort of begun to, there was Greek deities were available to me growing up. And so those are the energies I connected with and sort of made sense of a pantheon, right? Like it's a very Roman and Greek deities and mythology is very widespread. It's what you learn. So that's sort of what I used to make sense. But lately, in the past few years, I've been speaking on energies as if to say like Venus energy, Aphrodite energy, because I know there's more deities that are evocative of these things that I am drawn to and I work with, but I don't necessarily know
who they are
specifically the name, because there's a lot of lost prophets, right? And a lot of lost gods and goddesses, and it's really sad because you know, Aphrodite's popular, you know, Hecate is very popular, and they're popular for a reason, but it's like I know that within my own mix of ancestry there are deities I don't know the names of, and I want to know the names of. So I've begun to speak on like any deities that I work with or enjoy their energies in a sense of like blank energy. You know what I mean? To sort of like open up, like to lessen the specificity and to open up the possibility of the knowledge that I don't already know. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because the language does matter.
And when you think about the Roman Empire, something that they had a habit of doing amongst many other things is taking local deities and renaming them after their own. So like this is like Aphrodite of the Nile. This is you know, so they would name them of the place, and it would cover up these local deities and spirits and
the real specific ones. If you're trying to research, it's difficult.
It's difficult because of imperialism.
Just things getting conquered and
I think like what you're saying is really awesome, because it does open you up to those like unknowns or lesser knowns. And I think
that I may or may not be right, but like I think that probably is attractive to my ancestors, and that's probably why I'm doing it, is because they're like, we want you to know us and know these things, and I want to know them and know these specific details and things, and I think just subconsciously or consciously, whatever, like I'm doing that as a response to seeking out that connection.
Yes.
You know, which I think is pretty interesting.
That's one of the things I love about folk Catholicism too, is that because the saints have been syncretized with so many different spirits and across so many different cultures, by engaging with the saints, by engaging with the Blessed Mother and her many different apparitions, like they really open the door to you meeting the spirits who may hide behind their masks. And I think that's cool.
The image of masks and that's exactly what I was going to say. That's so funny.
And I think that's why after like the Great Schism and later sects of Christianity did away with Marian and saint worship. You're not allowed to have those things in other versions of Christianity. And I think it's because they realized there's power in connecting people with more ancient spirits through their images, power that they can't control.
Yeah.
They can't stop.
Yeah. Because the energy of something is still there, whether you want it to be, whether you name it something or not. I truly believe that, like, these things manifest regardless of what you call them. And that's their power. That's the power of the energy's existence. Like, it just perpetuates itself. And yeah, it's just interesting how things could get trapped and rechanged and all these things. And so, for instance, I'm like, okay, what were the pagan gods of the Azores? And the Azores was founded, there weren't indigenous people to the Azores that we know of. When they got there, there were no people. When the Portuguese went there were no people living currently on that land. But then it's like, okay, well, who are the pagan gods of Portugal? And then that gets to, like, Iberian people. And then that gets me into like Galicia, right? Like,
Yeah.
where
Galicia had Celts.
Yeah, yes, Galicia, and then hold on, where is it? Lusitania. Jesus Christ.
Cool.
Okay. So then you get into, like, Lusitanian stuff and, like, and so it's like it's like seeking out these very specific things that some of them have record of, but then how much of that is literal research and how much of that is spiritual connection research? You know what I mean? Which is what you help people with. That's interesting to me.
I think it's a good combination of both, right? Because, like, the paper trail can only get you so far. And when we find ourselves frustrated with the end of that trail, that's where leaning on intuition and divination can become really, really helpful.
Yes.
Can become really helpful. And even, like, one of the tools that I teach to, like, my diasporic clients who have, like, no idea where they come from is like, print a map and grab a pendulum.
Yeah.
Print a map and grab a pendulum and start there. And let the good spirits, like, show you where on the map they want you to dig deeper into. And, like, it's fun. It's hide and seek. And it's hard also because it's like, but if I do this, I don't have tangible evidence. But, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not for anyone else.
Yeah.
But you.
Yeah.
To have that comfort, to have that sense of knowing. So,
Yeah.
like, there's nothing to prove. It's not like you're trying to be the spokesperson of a place you've never been and of people you've never met.
Yeah.
But you're just trying to understand who you are and, like, what are these spiritual tools for if not to help us know ourselves more fully.
That's very true.
Yeah. And, you know, a way that I like to teach people to connect with their ancestral spirits if they don't know where to begin, something really simple is just, like, set out a little table, and it can be a shelf, it can be a folding table, doesn't matter what it is, big, small, whatever you have, and put a white cloth down and a glass of water and a white candle, and out loud dedicate that space to your wise and well ancestral spirits, and let them know out loud that, like, this water is for you. May this light guide you closer to me, and let them know you want to hang out. You want to have relationships with them. And then you'll start noticing the little ways that they signal you through the environment around you. Wanting to read a certain book, wanting to watch a certain show. Those all become little messages from your spirits that help you on the, like, treasure hunt to self-discovery.
It's so fun. Something I've come across too is speaking on, like, popularity and what's the most prevalent and widespread pagan belief system, right? It's the Celts. It's what modern neo-pagans use a lot of, the imagery and things. And for me, it's a little hard to connect with that sometimes because it's just always in my face, which is sad because I'm very Scottish.
You're Celt.
Like, British, Scottish, German, Portuguese. It's my big four with some stuff. But, like, you know, I don't know. It's just
like the
it's
commodification
yeah,
of it makes
yeah.
it not as fun.
It makes it not as fun, and I'm definitely the person that's like, oh, that's overhyped. I'm not going to go see that.
And I also
And it's
wonder, like, how
so
legit,
sad.
like, how legit is most of the information we get
Exactly.
about Celtic
That too.
spirituality?
Because a lot of it is just so. Look,
whitewash.
I'm an author. I'm a publisher. Information gets written by somebody, and then someone reads that, and then writes their version of it, and someone reads that, and it just kind of waters down and mixes in, and whatever. But I'm sort of not interested in that at all. I'm sort of interested in like with Celtic stuff. Like I just want to find my own connection and not, and I am, but there's trepidation, and I don't want my ancestors to be like wearing their kilts being like, well, f*** you, or whatever the f- they sounded like. But it sounded like Shrek, what they sound like. Just kidding. But I know that belongs to me too. And I just don't like when things are overly, and that's not even to get into like appropriation and stuff like that. That's a whole nother thing that we should us talk about.
I just don't know how accurate it is. And also, when you think about like the Celts were all over the place, right? Like there were so many different regions where Celts settled before Europeans started conquering themselves, before they started conquering Black and brown people. So, and I'd have to imagine that Celtic lifestyle and spirituality varied from place to place.
Exactly.
So, like, whatever we're getting in
Celtic is a very broad term.
It's such a broad term, yeah.
And there were main areas, and Scotland is definitely a big area with a lot of preserved information. But I'd rather like go to Scotland and learn about it than learn about it from some like neo-pagan book.
Yeah, neo-pagan just doesn't do it for me.
You know? And look, I guess technically I am a neo-pagan, but but like I don't like I don't know. I just don't. I don't trust
too much
people.
Iffy stuff in the neo-pagan
There's
community.
a lot of iffy stuff.
Iffies.
Whatever.
So you're Scottish, English.
I always throw that one away. I'm like, and German. It's another big one.
Wow.
Germanic stuff is interesting.
Do you know from where in Germany your ancestors are from?
I think Hamburg was the most recent.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait.
Why?
Where in Germany were mine from? It's something
we
with an
twins.
H2.
Oh, we have some interesting little connections.
Wait a second. Hold on.
No way. Is it the same?
I'm Celtic too, but I'm Celtic by way of Galicia, not by Scotland.
Yeah.
But let me just pull up my... I am
But
very
like
blessed.
I might also be Galicia. We don't know.
We don't really know.
Because it's definitely your neighbor.
Okay, let's see.
What in your bloodline does Galicia pop up? Like how did you get to there?
So
Toesies. Playing footsies.
The Galician connection is from my dad's paternal grandmother.
Got it. Cool. So you have like specific person to where you can
I'm really lucky
discern it.
Because oral tradition is really important on both sides of my family.
Nice.
And the elders on both sides of my family, like one of the things we did at at holidays would be like recounting all of the different people we come from and are related to. And when I was younger, I was like, why are we talking about this again? But now as I'm older, like every time I go visit my mom or every time I visit my grandfather, I ask them to do it for me. And I start writing all that shit down.
That's amazing.
So that I can keep track because... I feel like if you have the privilege of having living grandparents or even great grandparents, while you can, like take advantage of being able to ask them those questions. And they might not have all of the answers.
If you ask them enough, they'll know something that you didn't know before. Yes. They'll tell you something. Even my mom, I'm like, I didn't know that.
Right?
What are you talking about?
Oh, no. We were from Hesse-Darmstadt, Germany. So my maternal great-great-grandfather Friedrich Wilhelm
Friedrich?
Baltz. Friedrich Wilhelm Baltz was born in Germany, and he was Ashkenazi Jewish. They were Eastern European Jews, and he came with his brother to Mexico in 1840, something like that.
Wow.
1840.
Cool.
And cool.
I mean, cool because you're here, but
cool because I'm here, and that's something I constantly have to remind myself. I'm like, okay, but I'm
also,
here, and that's cool.
not cool. Like, yay,
not
that
cool,
was cool.
Like he married my 14-year-old Indigenous great grandmother.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'm not going to get into the lore, but and many women after her. There are a lot of people with the last name Baltz because the Baltzes.
They baltzed around. Yeah.
And there's still his brother's house is like a historical landmark.
Wow.
It's like a teeny tiny modest adobe house in Yuma, Arizona, because that's where they moved from Mexico. Huh. And it's still there. It's called the Baltz House.
Whoa. That's crazy.
But yeah, we have that German connection. That's so funny.
Yeah.
And then so like on my mom's side, I'm like a mixed bag. So my mom's paternal grandfather, his mom was Indigenous and his dad was Eastern European Jewish, right? And then his wife, Benedicta Caño, they were Mexican by way of Spain. They were from Leon's? Castile and Leon's. That's where they came from. And then eventually to Los Angeles. And then on my dad's side, my mom's dad was Italian, but they were Romani Italian. So they like moved all around southern Italy, Calabria, all over the place until they finally came to West Virginia and settled in Appalachia.
Yeah.
Like your family.
My German ancestors went there and they hung out. And they did probably some magic shit.
Some magic shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Appalachia is such an interesting place because
it
really became, after the Trail of Tears.
Right.
It became like a refuge almost for immigrants who were poor.
Yeah. Newbies. Truly.
Yeah.
I think a lot of their magical practices got mixed together into what now is like Appalachian like magic.
Yeah.
And that's something I've been interested in learning more about because I do feel called to that.
Me too.
Even though I am from California and but I feel some vibes.
Me too.
And I kind of want to go there in a safe place and learn more.
I want to go there during the day. Yeah.
I don't know. I never was interested in that area until a few years ago when I started thinking about this kind of thing.
I know. I've been thinking about my mom's dad a lot lately, and I keep hearing like John Denver, "Take Me Home, Country Road" a lot, like in my head over and over again. I'm like, okay.
I'm like, all right.
I hear you, West Virginia Mountain Mama.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to go in a cave and do something. Yeah, there's some weird stuff that goes on there. There are very interesting spirits there. For sure. And a lot of cool cryptids, which I'm into.
As I've been learning more about Appalachia, at least what I can, that's not through oral tradition, I realize like little quirks about and superstitions and sayings that like my grandfather used to say that I'm like, oh, that comes back to here. Like that goes back to that place. And I think that's kind of cool, making those connections.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. It's cool. And I recently learned that even though most of them were from Calabria in Italy, like one of my great grandmothers was from Sicily, which is like an island. It's a little bit different. So it's kind of, I don't know, maybe one day we'll get to do like a tour like in White Lotus.
Yes. I want a paid tour where we go and discover our ancestral connection. I really want to go to the Azores. I need to go there.
Yeah.
That is the biggest, it's, yeah. I mean, they came to California and other coastal towns because they're fishermen. They're whalers, and the men and the women. And when, you know, the country started getting colonized, they hired those people like in Massachusetts and things in coastal towns to teach them how to fish and whale and to work for them, essentially, because they were, you know, poor and things were going on there and they wanted to leave. So they settled in coastal communities, which is where I'm from. I'm from the central coast of California, and there's a huge Azorean Portuguese population there in my hometown for a reason. And so like the ocean is very important to me. Water is very important to me. And fishing, although I am not very experienced at all, I did it a few times and it felt very like I feel like I could fish and eat the fish and like make it and like do all those things. But I've never done it, you know?
Yeah.
Like the sense of like thinking like, I know I could do that, but I haven't. I've never even been on a boat.
Really?
Like a boat.
Yeah.
Like a fishing boat out in the ocean. Or I've been on like a kayak. I think I was on a houseboat when I was like a baby, but like I've never been on a cruise or a boat. Cruises freak me out.
Yeah, me too.
But like a fishing boat. One of my best friend's husband is a commercial fisherman, so I need to go with him.
That's
but,
cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel like I could like gut some fish. You know what I'm saying?
You know, fishermen, that's like something else we have in common in our ancestry, because so my dad's from Cuba and his dad.
Islands.
The islands.
It's islands.
The island girls.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Island people.
Island people. And my paternal grandfather's mother, whenever I ask about them, it's no, they were always from Cuba. They were always from Cuba. And I was like, what does that mean? And he's like, you know what that means. They were always from Cuba. So like we're indigenous on that side.
Yeah.
And like they were fishermen. They were coastal people. And he's like, we were always fishermen on that side. And then my grandfather's father was from the Canary Islands. And like the Azorians, people in the Canaries were like suffering from like major poverty because of colonialism. And they started plucking people from the Canaries to go work in Cuba after enslavement and human trafficking was abolished. So they needed to find new ways to exploit cheap labor. And so that's how we ended up in Cuba, because of him.
Wow.
So I know, right?
It's so interesting.
From one island to another. From one coast to another. But like water's always been...
Yeah.
You know what's interesting?
I need to be near it or I feel weird.
I need to be near it. I love the ocean. I don't feel compelled to go.
I don't want to go in the... I feel a healthy fear, just like my ancestors did.
Yeah.
There are a lot of lore about sea creatures, mermaids.
Yes.
Scary monsters.
There's just so
Portuguese
much
kraken. I don't know.
We'll never know about the depths of the ocean.
Yeah.
And like, I don't need to find out.
I don't need to do that.
I don't need to find out.
I don't want a deep sea dive.
No.
That's
No,
not
that
for
sounds
me.
horrible.
I also think I lived a life in there.
Snorkel.
I lived a whole ass life in there. I was what? A selkie or a seal? And I got eaten by a shark. We all know this.
I don't need to.
Your first episode, yeah, that happened to me.
I don't need to go down there.
No.
No.
But I love to be near it.
Me too.
When I lived in New Mexico for like 6 months, I do like a desert moment, but it's weird.
Desert's weird.
The desert energy,
And
I
love
like it. I like it. I like going to Yucca Valley and all that. But like, it's like going to Mars or something.
It's
like
not my home.
Not being near it. I was just painting mirages, like ocean stuff, because it feels very claustrophobic to me to not be by the ocean, and I get claustrophobic like when I'm at a restaurant, I need to be on the end seat. When I go to the movie theater, I need to be on the end seat. Like I'm very much like I need an open space near me.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe has to do with that a little bit. And that is ironic because my ancestors were from islands, but where you can't really, but they're surrounded by
water,
openness. Yeah, you're secluded on there, but you're You're protected and surrounded by something.
the
And the Atlantic is
vastness.
beautiful up there. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And these islands are just, they're volcanic.
Yeah.
There's like
So that good soil.
a bunch of volcanoes too. So it's, I don't know. I really need to go
Volcano
there.
magic.
Yeah. Like I want to study that, whatever that is. Even the Catholicism there, like, I just want to go and like, you know,
Dude,
vibe out. People would give me
is so cool.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, people would give me like saint things and stuff growing up, you know, like Saint Christopher, Saint Francis. Is that the animal guy? Saint Francis? Yeah, the animal. There was a saint of like performance and music. Oh, that's weird.
I know.
Because I had a necklace that I lost. And I don't know why. But my neighbor, it wasn't from my family, it was from a neighbor who was not Portuguese, but he gave me this like saint, double coined like saint necklace. And one side, because he was an actor, he's a performer, and one side was the saint of acting and the other side was the saint of music. And I had it for a long time and I lost it like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And I don't know. I lost it though. It like disappeared off of my neck.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
That happens sometimes.
But it happens.
Yeah. It's like I lost this necklace for a lot of years and then it turned up in my old roommate's new apartment. So if you look right here.
Oh,
this is
right.
Cuba.
Yeah. That's right. That's the one you talked about on the podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like this is kind of how one of the ways I stay connected to my
Yeah.
ancestors is through my
I wish
adornment.
Yeah, it's important. It's important.
Like I wear my grandmother's necklace. I wear my dad's Cuba charm. I would love to go to Cuba one day.
I want to go too.
I would really love to go
We could.
to the places where my family is from.
Our friend of the pod, Juliet Diaz, is Taino, indigenous, like heavily involved in the tribe. So we can go.
We should just go.
We can go.
I need to get a passport.
Yeah, I need to get a passport. But especially with the spiritual, speaking of Juliet and speaking of, you know, the work that people do to amplify like lost voices, it's important for us to listen to those people. And that's why I think when I see so much of the same, Bridget's probably like, excuse me? No offense, babe. But just a lot of the same imagery gets rolled around. It dilutes it for me. And I want to learn more about different people sometimes, not to claim as my own, but just to know it's out there and to reinforce the idea that like witchcraft is a vast, diverse, global practice done by very different people and in many different ways. And like, I think that gets erased when it's just a lot of white voices with, you know, echoing their white ancestries over and over and over. Or misappropriating
of other people.
Yeah. Or even doing that when it's like
here's my dream catcher.
Yeah.
Here's my coyote's skull.
Here's my bundle of white sage. And it's frustrating because when I try and tell people, hey, like, that's not okay, it's like I have to explain it. And I'm like, it's not your culture. I bust that out, not to be a party pooper, but to like, when people are in denial about it, I have to say something. And like other white people need to say shit like that because that's how other white people listen.
Yeah. I
really believe that. It's like that's on us that's part of the like unlearning all this shit is like also sharing the unlearning with others and taking the time to explain it and have those conversations, because I think that's part of our responsibility as like privileged ass people is to do that, especially in the witch community.
And we've talked about it on the show before, like our greatest power is found in our authenticity. And when we don't know what our authenticity is, a good place to discover what it may be is to look to your ancestry. And I think that when folks start doing ancestry research, kind of like you said, it's like, but I want to find the part where they're doing magic.
Yeah.
I want to find the part where they're doing the magic.
Yeah,
so that
it's hard
I can
not to
see
think that.
exact instructions. Oh, I cut my finger.
Oh.
For how to do the magic. And
you're not going to find that.
What I encourage people, exactly. You're not going to find that. I encourage people to look at like the mundane.
Yes.
What did people do on the day to day?
Yeah.
What region? What was the like ecological
It's boring research sometimes.
What kind of plants grew around them? What kind of food did they eat? What kind of jobs did they have? Because that's where you're going to get the good inspo from.
Yeah, like, okay, fishermen. Okay, they have folklore about that. Maybe try and find the folklore. And we've talked about that before, trying to discern these little nuggets and then take what you want and sort of for yourself and then leave what doesn't call to you and just it's research.
It's research. It's a lot of research.
It's
what animals are around them.
Yeah.
What can I learn from those animals?
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of that.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of that. And it's fun. It's not instantaneous and it's definitely not a signal for you to go and like think someone else's culture is cooler, so let's
pick that one
or whatever. And it's
just reminds me of like one time I was giving this reading to someone and she was very sweet. She was a very sweet girl. And like a bunch of her Celtic ancestors came through. And she was like very, like she looked like the postcard for an Irish girl. Like white, pretty,
even
blazing green eyes.
So like starseed but a ginger?
But no, she was blonde, but I think she dyed a blonde.
Oh.
But like very obviously of that region, and all of these really cool ancestors came through, and I was like, this one's saying this one's saying that. And at the end she was like, but I've really always, and we went to the same high school, so this is part of it.
Yeah.
Like I really have always just more identified with like Latina culture.
Okay. Well, look. Okay.
And I was like, but babe, I just introduced you to so many cool humans that you come from that want to teach you your culture.
A Southern California thing.
I know.
Look, I grew up with Mexican culture, straight up.
Cool.
I grew up
to be
with
appreciated.
all those people, amazing people, all that culture around me.
Yeah.
But I danced folklorico and I probably didn't I was invited to. Okay, they gave me the blonde bun. Like, I did all those things.
Yeah.
But I'm not Mexican.
Yeah.
I love Mexican culture.
Yeah.
It's familiar to me, but it's not something I own.
Yeah.
And like...
Laura's not decorating her house for Dia de Muertos.
No. But I know about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know. I'm knowledgeable about it.
There's a difference between like appreciation and misappropriation. There's a big difference. And like, when you have ancestors like coming through willing to share themselves with
That's
you.
so sad. She's like, well, yeah, like, okay, but you're not that.
And I'm like, also like,
unless
Latinos
you are,
so much more
I don't
than,
know,
like,
but
tacos and lip liner.
Yeah.
Like, there's more here than what you think you're getting. And
I'm hungry.
I don't know why I kind of had forgotten about her, and it just popped back into my mind right now.
We can have experiences with. I'm the perfect example. My last name is Wong. I'm not Chinese, nor do I claim to be Chinese. Although I am very proud to have that as my last name because I think it's a traditional marriage. You know, it's I'm married into the family.
Yes.
It's fine. My family is Chinese, but I am not.
Yeah.
And I think I love it. I've always dated outside my race because I think I'm just attracted to who I'm attracted to. But like, I think it's a lot of other cultures have like great like family vibes and just like family's important, and my family was like pretty closed off, so and messed up. But that's a whole nother topic. But like but I'm not doing it to trick people into like finding the Asian in my face or whatever, which people do look for. They're like, maybe her dad's like
Emma Stone.
maybe this Emma Stone. No. But I'm very pro interracial marriage. It's something that was not always legal. Okay. I am very proud to be married to my husband. But I don't, I'm not like talking in a weird accent and like wearing a, traditional Chinese garb unless I'm asked to.
Yeah.
That's different.
That would be different.
But I'm not selling it. I'm not putting it on Instagram. When you appropriate something, you are not appreciating it. You're taking advantage of it. You're exploiting it.
Yeah.
And so, when I talk about everything, every house cleansing is, I got the white. Let me tell you, I listened to hundreds and hundreds of hours of ghost stories. Mm-hmm. The way that white sage has spread throughout the supernatural community is wild to me. They all want the white sage. And they don't even know why.
No.
They just think that's what they've heard, so that's what they do.
Because they sell it at Urban Outfitters.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And Urban Outfitters over-harvests it from, like, Gabrielino Trail over in Pasadena, and that's why the plant is, like, struggling. And, like, if you want to burn white sage, like, grow it yourself.
Yeah.
Get a little pot, get some seeds, grow it yourself.
But question why you want to burn white sage.
Contribute to the ecology of our environment. But also,
don't sell
why do you want to burn white sage? Because y'all are burning it to cleanse, and that's not even what it's for.
No.
I had to tell Jeff Goldblum that when we were on the show.
I mean, that's how spread it is.
It was like, I think the house, he was talking about how the house was haunted, and so he had somebody come in with the white sage and cleanse it. And we were like, well, you made it worse.
Oh my God.
It's like there's an episode of Ghosts where the girl like lights the white sage and the ghosts are like, oh, that smells so good. I'm gonna walk through it.
That's so funny. I think there's a time and place for it, and it's not for you if it's not when you're white. That's not the time or place.
Just like, don't use tools you don't know what they're for.
Yeah, and I mean, I get that for non-spiritual people, especially, to be like, okay, my house, I guess this thing is supposed to. There's a lot of hoops you got to jump through to explain to them, and it's always like harder for me to explain it to people that are new to their spirituality, and I'm really not that patient with them, but I'm like, it's not. I don't know. White people are weird.
It's wild to me that the white sage thing isn't like common knowledge yet. Like, how are we still really talking not? About
and then
this?
It's like, I don't know.
It's wild.
I was at a friend's house and I explained that to her, the same person that was like, but I was born here, and I was like, oh no. I am not drunk enough for this. And I was like, but it's my responsibility. I want to educate what I can and advocate for. That's what I'm trying to do, okay? Trying to do what I wanted to explain it. I'm trying to do my little part, okay? And so, but then she was like, oh, let me show you my like crystal things, and like brought back like, and it had like white. She's like, well, here's my appropriated white sage, I guess. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I was like, yeah, but it's just like this, it's interesting. It's funny to watch people like after I've like, they feel the guilt of it. And I'm like, I didn't fucking make the rules, bro. Like, I'm just telling you like what indigenous people have told me. All right. Like, I'm just spreading the good word, man. Like, hey, and that's important. Like, we can't we got to listen to people. Like, it's just, if something is harmful to a community and they tell you it's harmful,
just say
end of story. It's like, don't do it. Just say, okay, there's so many other plants and ways. You can
literally grow any plant you want in your own backyard and burn it.
And then put some intention behind that shit, and there you go.
And then you're not
burn some pumpkin leaves. I don't know.
Over harvest. Yeah, literally.
Truly.
Anything. Okay, and this brings me to another idea, all this like white sage conversation.
Sorry, it's just it's the most accessible example.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But like the plants are our ancestors.
Yes. That's the thing.
And if you don't know who to turn to, that's a really good place to start. Like, plants are our ancestors.
Yeah.
The rose has been around for over 1,000,000 years. Magnolia trees are so prehistoric that only a certain kind of beetle can pollinate them.
Really?
Bees are too new of a species.
What?
So they cannot pollinate
I didn't know
magnolia
that.
trees. Literal dinosaur trees
Ugh.
existing here in the same timeline as us.
Yeah.
Like fungi and mycelium
Yeah.
and great oak trees, like all of these things, the ceiba tree, which is sacred in so many places to so many people, like these are our ancestors too. And when we feel lost as to which people our ancestors might be, the plants, the trees, that's why I said all the time, the plants, the trees, the birds, the bees, like they are the ones we can turn to receive that wisdom and comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And like even somebody shared, Sam from Toil and Trouble shared something about how like there's this one species of fungi that has like over 800,000 different genders.
Yeah.
Like for all of my like queer and trans folks who are
Mushrooms
looking for
are
ancestors,
wild.
like it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like we come from the fungi. That's
yeah, we
like
do.
of course.
Our brain, the way that the fungi connect under the ground is like it mirrors like the way our brain
Mycelium
whatever.
is
I'm not
everywhere.
a scientist. Yes, it's the nerve. I don't know.
And when you
It
think
looks like our
about
brains.
how like mycelium allows the trees and plants to network to one another and send nutrients and stuff to one another, it reminds me of how like we can read one another.
Yeah.
Like read each other's energy.
Yes.
Read the spirits. Like we're able to send messages without speaking because we come from mushrooms. How cool is that? It blows my mind. But
Little
like
mushroom.
our ancestors are everywhere. It's the soil, it's the ocean. Like our ancestors are everywhere. Even if we feel disconnected in the moment, there are ways that we can find that connection we seek if we decide to be open to it.
Yeah. I like that.
Me too.
I feel like that's a good place to take some questions,
Let's take some
Let's take some questions. It's a nice wrap up. Good job.
Yeah. Someone said, not a specific cue, but would love your thoughts on astrology. Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Sooner than you think.
Oh my gosh. You are both so amazing. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. I've been listening to your podcast, watching on YouTube, and you talk a lot about tapping into your ancestors and the magic and culture you come from. I'm a fledgling witch, and so far have not found something that truly seems to work for me. Thinking about my culture, though, coming from 2 different Asian backgrounds, but being born American, I'm not sure if I feel the same kind of connection to my cultural background. And I feel like I'm also kind of phony if I try to connect with my Asian heritage when I feel almost too American to have the right to do so. Do you have any thoughts or advice? Yes. So whether you are from the Asian diaspora, Latin American diaspora, African diaspora, like you're not phony for wanting to connect with who you come from.
No.
You're not phony for wanting to connect with who you come from.
That might be more of a projection of, and I'm totally making an assumption of like, if your family were maybe some of your family judges you for not being Asian enough or being whatever enough.
Or in other spaces being like
Yeah.
not American
Or you
enough.
don't speak
Yeah.
whatever, Asian language, whatever native language you have, like maybe you don't speak it. And I know I'm speaking for Mike, our producer, but I know that like Mike doesn't speak Chinese and his family doesn't give him, for that. But I think they're, that he has some interesting opinions on like, when you don't speak the language your parents speak or whatever. I think there's something to be said there about like some guilt. And that's just me totally making an assumption, but
yeah, language does make it hard. Like even in like
or
Latin,
cultural,
like
whatever.
The Latino community, like if you don't speak Spanish, you're called a no sabo kid.
Yeah, like I'm not Portuguese enough for Portuguese. I know.
But
no way.
At the same time, like English is Spanish is also a colonial language.
Right.
So like, am I any closer to my indigenous ancestors?
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, it is
for
your
sure.
birthright to
Yeah.
know who
Yes.
you come from. And reconnecting to people doesn't mean you need to become the spokesperson for them. I think that's something that's important in our ancestry journey. Like, you don't have to become the spokesperson for a lived experience that is not your own.
And you don't have to literally speak on it or share it with anyone. This is for you.
It's literally for you.
Yeah, you don't have to make it your
for
whole
you.
ass identity.
Yeah.
Or, hey, everyone, guess what I've done? It's for you. It's between you and your ancestors.
Exactly. It's personal. It's for you. You can connect with them through divination, through channeling. You can connect with them through research. A lot of the stuff that we talked about today should be helpful for you. But it's not phony. And also, I want to say that, like, when you're doing something you haven't done before, it's going to feel uncomfortable and strange.
Yeah.
And we have to have the courage to continue through that discomfort rather than expect the discomfort to not be there as a sign that we should move forward. Mm-hmm. Like, if you wait until it feels less phony, you're going to be waiting forever. The comfort and certainty comes with the experience.
Yeah. Yes. Trying new things can be scary, including magical things.
Yeah. But good luck on your journey.
You're not phony. Because you exist.
Let's see. Have we answered this one? Are there any books you recommend that aren't necessarily witchy?
Yeah, we answered that
one. How do you safely communicate with spirits, ghosts? That's a long question. One. That's like a whole episode. So I'm going to add that to our episodes list. Developing your psychic senses. Is there a limit that we reach?
A limit?
Or is it ever evolving?
The limit does not exist.
The limit does not exist.
I don't think so.
I don't think there's a limit.
I think the limit's if you are Tyler Henry and you have your own show and you're balling, maybe you can chill out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I have no need to expand further upon this.
I'm cool. I love Tyler Henry, don't get me wrong. But I mean, I'm just kidding. Monetarily, maybe you could be like, I'm good. But really, well, that's a good question for you because you're, in my eyes, pretty experienced with that.
Beep boop. I think it never stops evolving. I don't think you could stop it if you wanted to. I think it's forever changing, growing, expanding, and contracting. And that's just life. Like, if we look at nature, it changes with the seasons, and our psychic and spiritual gifts are no different. Mm-hmm. I don't think you ever tap out unless
you can.
Maybe you get burnt out. I think you get burnt out.
And you can choose to tap out
and choose to turn it off. But for as long as you are nurturing it, it'll keep changing and changing.
Yeah, even if it's little baby stuff like me. I want to see a ghost. I want to experience spirit more literally and physically.
You're ready for that?
Yes.
Y'all ready for this? Spirit finger. Oh, spirit fingers.
Show people.
Incredible.
No, I would not in my house, but somewhere else. I've imagined it happening. I'm ready to have more stuff.
You're ready to have.
I want to see a full-bodied
apparition. Phenomenon.
Yeah, I got to go some real haunted places and make it happen.
You do that and report back.
I will not take you with me. No, I come back I brought a spirit with me.
You're like, I need an exorcism. Help me. And I'm like, you're the girl who cried exorcism.
I know. No, I'll do it safely.
Every week and it's like, do you want to do an exorcism? And
I
never know if she's
need
serious.
An exorcism. I know. I commented and shit.
I'm like, yes, if you do, if you really need it.
I don't need it. I'm tempting fate. It's fine. I'm just kidding. No, I'll do it safely.
Living on the edge.
I know how to wear my spiritual protection.
Wear your protection.
But I don't want the ghost thing. Okay.
Well.
Oh, yeah.
This has been another fun episode. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for watching Third Eye Bind.
Be sure to leave us a message on the Third Eye line. Bye. Buy a t-shirt. Be like us.
Thank you so much for listening. You can follow the podcast at Third Eye Bind Pod on Instagram. There, submit your questions via the Third Eye line by sending us a voice message or text DM. The show is available wherever you listen to podcasts and for you to watch on YouTube. Get early access to episodes and even monthly one-on-one sessions with us by joining our Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/thirdeyebind. Third Eye Bind is produced and edited by Mike Realm. Hosted by Caitlin Grania and Laura Wong. Music by Mike Realm. Set design by Laura Wong. You can find Laura on Instagram at Lady Moon Co. And you can find Caitlin at caitlin.grania.